Welcome to the Grand Review, the movie review podcast where every week we sit down, we tell you if a movie's worth your time and your hard-earned cash. I'm your host, Garrett Ray, and joining me, as always, is the fantastic, stretchy Mr. Andy Delia.
Thanks, Garrett.
And we have a special guest today.
Yeah, a special guest, yeah.
So we were talking, and we were going to see a kids' movie, and we thought the only way that it would make it sound like I might be an intelligent adult talking about it is to bring in an actual kid. So here he is, the kid with the laser eyes himself, Drew.
Hi.
Hi, Drew. Thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Drew.
All right, so this week we are talking about Despicable Me 4. If you've never joined us on the show before, basically how it works is we're going to do a spoiler-free review. We'll just give you general impressions up front, and then when I say we're going into spoilers, then we can talk about specifics. All right? We're all agreed on the rules?
Yep.
All right, no below-the-belt hits, no kidney punches, all right? I want a good, clean fight this week.
Well, we didn't fight last week with Horizon. The Horizon was just perplexing to us because everything points to a bad movie, but we liked it.
Yeah, I'm still wrestling with that. But this week it's Despicable Me 4, and as is always the case, we start with Andy's thoughts. And so this week I'm gonna reserve my thoughts for last because I want to hear what you guys have to say about it.
Okay.
I know in the past we've talked I might have a slight bias against Illumination.
Yeah.
And
which is why I'm surprised you agreed to do this week.
Well, we're gonna watch a lot of stuff I don't want to watch on this show. I've just accepted that.
Well, you're gonna get even with me when we have to watch Twisters.
Yeah. So suck it up, buddy. We're sitting down in the theater. But anyway, your thoughts on Despicable Me 4?
I liked it. Considering Drew and I have been watching all of them this week just to get caught up with this one. Actually, I thought this was better than 3. 3 had like the twin Gru brother that I didn't really care for. There was stuff with the story I didn't care for. This one, actually, I thought was a lot more fun, a lot more entertaining. And, of course, Mega Minions, cool. The Minion stuff, everybody thinks it gets old by now, especially since they have 2 movies on their own, and then this is the 4th one in the series. I don't think it gets old. The kid at heart in me kind of definitely enjoys this.
Yeah.
So, Drew, what'd you think?
I liked it. It was good.
Okay. Why'd you like it?
Basically the Mega Minions.
Mega Minions? So which one was your favorite Mega Minion?
The laser one.
Okay, why'd you like the laser one?
The part where he was doing the coffee.
The coffee?
The coffee.
Yeah, that's a good part.
I liked the cheese skiing downhill.
Yes, I did
great.
too.
Yeah, if I had to pick a favorite, I mean, I love the laser eye, but I think the Conehead flying minion was probably my favorite, just because he like when he came out of the pod at the begining, he had to like stick his thumb in his mouth and blow so that his head would pop out. Yeah, that was great. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I had fun.
Yeah,
I had fun. And look, I know. I think I just didn't like the Grinch one specifically because there is something to Illumination's style of filmmaking, especially for a while they're starting with like Sing, that it's just, for me, it just felt like this sort of cynical cash grab kind of stuff more than storytelling. This one is, it's still trying. It's the Minions are the main draw,
right.
and the rest of the characters are fun, but no, I had fun. I kind of maybe it's just because I'm getting old. But I feel less jaded having watched this.
Well, to me too, there's definitely kind of a sentimental aspect with this, with, my son and I, and seeing Gru as a father now with a new, the other girls have been adopted.
Right.
With actually have a baby of his own now, and thinking of when I had Drew when he was smaller, it's definitely a very similar stuff that is put into the film that I think is interesting.
Did you also grab his nose and whip it around? No. Well, the night is still young. You have
no,
time,
but he
Drew.
did pee on me.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, I thought it was fun. Again, I talked about this with the Quiet Place Day 1. How it was in that movie. It was very much like positive messaging about humanity and and coming together and stuff like that. And I like that's here too. It's an encouraging movie to watch.
It is.
It definitely is not. It's not a Pixar movie.
No.
It's fun before anything else. But there's nothing wrong with that. A good popcorn movie is a good popcorn movie.
There doesn't have to be like an underlying social tone to this.
Right.
There's going back to like even when DreamWorks started with the first Shrek film. The Shrek film was just a lot of fun and a fractured fairy tale, nothing more.
Yeah.
Even the animation wasn't great, but the story propelled that enough to like box office success to, umpteen sequels that they've had of that have actually gotten worse as that series has gone along, to be honest.
Yeah.
Whereas Chris Meledandri and the Illumination Studio people, I think they really do a good job with keeping the material good, the material fresh, because there's a lot of social stuff in this, like they're taking a stab at too, that I thought was hilarious.
It was funny, but I couldn't help but feel like they were about 6 years behind on everything.
Yeah, but considering it takes about 6 years to make a film, that's
good point. Yeah. I don't know. It definitely. There were a couple of moments in this, a couple of jokes, specifically with the honey badger, where it was like, oh, we're so far past that, and anyone who's 13 or older is probably going to roll their eyes and go, oh my goodness. But I also laughed at it because I remember the honey badger thing, and it was funny at the time.
Drew, did you roll your eyes at that? Okay,
No.
Okay, there you go. Shaking. People can't hear you shaking your head, buddy.
Not unless you shake it a lot faster. Got to get some wind going.
The honey badger thing was really funny.
Yeah. How did you feel about the honey badger stuff, Drew?
I liked it.
Yeah. I heard you laughing, so I looked over.
Yeah.
There were moments where I wasn't having like the same reaction as Drew was, but listening to Drew laugh at it brought me joy.
Yeah, that's and that's the part of like me and him we've been going to the movies together for quite a long time.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
like his first film was Home.
Oh yeah,
and he's been going even before that. I would screen films at the theater. I was running in Marble Falls at the time. Drew was a baby, and I hope to God he doesn't remember some of the stuff that I watched. Because I know, like, I watched Don John, like, holding him in my arms.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
and Rush, which was the race car one movie, not the drug-addicted cop film. Because there's two films with Rush. And, yeah, definitely a lot of R-rated stuff that I watched. But as Drew got older, and then you saw The Nut Job Part 2, and then, like, we go see a movie every time something comes out. Wouldn't you say, Drew, that we go to that? And then you also go with your mom too.
Yeah.
What is there like a specific kind of movie that you find is your favorite sort of movie to watch?
Probably Kung Fu Panda 4.
Kung Fu Panda 4. Okay, so animated movies, that's kind of your jam. Yeah, that makes sense. I love animated movies too. I love specifically I was noticing in this one just how good the posing is, like individual, how well it reads like those impacts and stuff, because the way that they pose the characters and let it sit there for a frame or two before it like drops off and moves on. There's a lot of good animation here. This movie looks great. It really does.
Yeah, it does. But it's not Inside Out too.
No.
But it doesn't have to be. This is a different kind of film.
Well, I think Inside Out too, the look to that and how fluid their movements are is very, very much a part of how that whole movie feels and the storytelling of that.
Right.
And the Despicable Me movies are very much a how would you put it? It's almost slap you in the face sort of movement at all times. And so the change in how they animate, like I don't really like Illumination's character movements a lot of the time. I think compared to Pixar, I prefer the Pixar style. Well, but I also think that I understand why they choose that for these movies.
Pixar is a lot more polished, whereas the Illumination stuff is a little bit more rougher. It's definitely more cartoony. Doesn't have to look like something real. Yeah, it creates its own world, and I actually like The Grinch. The last one.
It's okay to be wrong. It's fine.
And I know you mentioned to me the one that really got you off topic with Illumination was Secret Life of Pets, and meanwhile that's the one that I really like that one.
I don't know what it is about it, but it just seemed like, all right, so we're just we're just doing things because it looks cute, and that's all that matters. And it sells tickets, so great. But like,
yeah, but how different from that is the movie we just watched, Despicable Me 4, from that?
I laughed at this one.
I laughed at Secret Life of Pets too.
I already told you it's okay to be wrong. I don't know what you want me to say. No, I'm kidding. Look, I also probably saw that at a time where I was much more cynical about the movie business in general.
Oh, okay.
And filmmaking. So maybe if I went back and rewatched
that makes sense, because I used to be a hater of the film Elf for the longest time. Like, I hated that movie. And then when I saw it, I wasn't in the right frame of mind for it. I don't like Will Ferrell a whole lot either.
I don't either, yeah.
Which is funny because Will Ferrell is the voice of the main villain in Despicable Me 4.
But thank God he doesn't sound like Will Ferrell at all.
No, he has this French accent, and it's actually pretty funny.
It is good, yeah.
But Sofia Vergara as his sidekick is even more funny because she has less lines than he does.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing, because her voice at times really grates on my nerves.
Yeah, it depends on the situation for me whether or not. But I also like I've heard her talk about like her struggle to get cast in certain parts because of her accent.
Yeah,
and I'm like I get that struggle too. I mean I had, when I was younger, I had a much more Southern Texas kind of way of speaking, and I had to learn to speak in what they call the standard American accent, which is something that can play from east to west, and it doesn't bother anybody. And that's how I talk now, because I practiced it so much that it became how I speak. But when I'm around my family, I've noticed it comes out.
Okay.
I that drawl just will kind of make its way in.
The experience that I've had, like growing up in Pittsburgh, I always thought I sounded normal, and then went away to college in New York, and then running into the people from Long Island and that section, and they go, "Man, you have an accent," and I'm like, "Seriously?
You have an accent?
I have an accent? Yeah. You have a lot of nerve to say that to me."
Drew, do you think your dad's normal?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was not the actual. I wasn't going to say
Here,
yes.
I'll make sure you get the 20 underneath the table after.
Oh goodness, I'm.
Meanwhile, he's wearing the shirt of like the film we hated this year.
Yeah, he's wearing the If shirt. Hey, if you liked If, though, more power to you, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Drew, did you like If?
Yeah.
Okay, why? We're curious. Why did you like If?
It was just like all the imaginary friends, like the imaginary friends were good, and like I thought it was just like a good story.
Okay.
Well, hey, I'm glad you knew what it was.
You're allowed to be wrong.
No idea.
You're 11.
It's not funny when you do it to bully a child.
I'm not doing it to bully a child. I got to take him home.
That's true, yeah. Here, bully your dad for me when you get home, will you?
Oh, don't worry. I get it.
Okay, so yeah, I think overall I would say, I don't know. Do you think there's a percentage of parents who sitting in the theater would be annoyed with this? Or do you think that it's probably going to play generally pretty well as far as kids' movies go?
I think it's going to play generally pretty well, because at the end of this, like, people were clapping and cheering, and
yeah, that was interesting.
It wasn't just the kids. It was. I think the adults come to see it just as much as the kids do.
Yeah.
So, which is great.
I do like, even if they're not to my taste, I like that movies exist that will play to parents and kids and have something positive for both of them.
And Super Mario Brothers really did that. Like, that was multi-generational people, like whole families were coming to see that film. Yeah.
It's still not my favorite movie or anything like that, but I was pleasantly surprised by Mario.
It was better than Garfield was.
Yeah, well,
Uh-oh, Drew, what's your thought? You like Garfield, I know.
Yeah.
And then I slept through it. But then, we both of us really liked Super Mario Brothers, because I was amazed at how much of a story that it had.
It had way more than I thought they were going to get. Yeah.
And it's funny too that when Garfield came out and the reviews on that were horrible, they cite solely that this is what we thought the Super Mario Brothers movie was going to end up being.
I think I read that same article.
And Garfield ended up being that.
Who animated Garfield?
Just Sony Pictures Animation.
Oh. They should not have killed Blue Sky.
No, I kind of miss some of that Don Bluth stuff is completely lost now.
Yeah. the Dawn Blue stuff, and then I remember.
Ice Age.
You want to know why I hate why I quote unquote hate Illumination?
Okay.
I watched Horton Hears a Who as a kid, and I loved that movie. Everything about it was fantastic. It's Steve Carell, Jim Carrey. The voice cast is incredible. The world, it looks like an actual Dr. Seuss book. And then I saw the Lorax, and I think the Lorax is a piece of garbage. I hate that movie.
See, I like the Lorax.
I hate the Lorax.
I just don't like the fact that Taylor Swift is in it.
Well, that's just another reason to hate the Lorax on top of all the other reasons. It doesn't look like a Dr. Seuss movie. It looks like a Despicable Me movie. And I just am like, you don't mess with the art style. You just don't.
Well, it's kind of hard to make that criticism considering, it's Illumination Studios and they do have a certain style of artwork and animation.
Yeah, but they also could have played into the design of the Dr. Seuss world a little more. Also, people got really weird about the one-slur on the internet. I'll tell you about it after. It's a mess. But
okay, not too appropriate.
Not anyone appropriate as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, the internet's a bad place. Thanks for joining us on our internet show. So, but that being said, I'm well aware that it's not a quality thing necessarily. It is a taste thing.
Okay.
So when people say they like these, I don't think they're idiots or anything. I just am like, it's not for me.
And then Migration was good too. That was
I didn't get to see
last
Migration.
Christmas's big film that they had, and that thing had some legs. Like that came out about a week or so before Christmas, and I think in February we were still playing that film.
You had the opportunity to say it had wings, and you just rolled right past it.
No, I wasn't going for the obvious on that one. I had to.
You were ducking the thing that we always do, which is make the obvious joke.
See, did you get that one, Drew, that he said about duck? It's Migration. It's about ducks.
No.
Well, if you did, it would have quacked you up.
We are catering to an 11-year-old at this point.
That's
and
true.
Any other kids that might be listening to this.
But that being said, overall, Despicable Me 4, I think, is an easy recommend for family movie. I had fun, despite my old crotchety curmudgeoniness. I still had fun. And Drew, you seem to like it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that it's worth the price of admission.
Yes.
And seeing it on a big screen is fun because there's a lot of detail in the destruction of the world as they go through this, and I liked watching all that stuff. So also there's a minion stuck in a vending machine the entirety of the movie, and I just thought that was a great gag.
I thought, and they kept going back to it.
Yeah,
and the stuff that they kept doing to that poor guy.
Fire in the hole.
That was hilarious. I laughed quite a bit at that scene. That was really funny. Drew, you thought that was... I heard you laugh.
Yeah.
I also liked that he's reading a book called The Vending Machine Diet at one point.
Yes.
Another guy's reading a book that says, I hate my boss.
Yeah.
So a lot of fun little book jokes.
It's going to be curious to see this the second time to see stuff that you missed the first time, because there's a lot of that little stuff all the way throughout this film.
Yeah, I didn't get to read the subtitle of the book, I Hate My Boss. There was more to it, and I wish I knew what it was.
Something about a toxic work environment.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good.
I saw part of it.
Okay. Well, I think that covers us for the spoiler-free. Let's say all three of us would recommend, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So full-on recommendation. Despicable Me 4 is fun. It's a popcorn. It's sweet candy for your eyes.
Yes.
It's not there to make you think, but you may tear up a little bit if you have kids.
Yeah.
By the end of it. So, all right. Well, let's get into spoilers.
Okay.
It's time to spoil the movie. Drew, what's your favorite moment from Despicable Me 4? I forgot the name of the movie for a second. I was really struggling.
when they were doing the dance battle.
Oh, at the end?
Yeah.
Oh, you like that part?
Well, and I think you like that more too, just because of all the villains from the other Despicable Me films that showed up in that. Like there were even one from the Minion movies that you recognized that you were pulling my arm going, Dad, that's this one. Dad, that's that one. And I was like, yeah. And I noticed there was El Macho from number 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There was
Balthazar Brat,
which was number 3. And then who was the girl from the first Minions movie that Sandra Bullock did the voice for?
Scarlet Overkill.
Scarlet Overkill. Right.
Yeah.
And then there was the ones from Minions Rise of Gru.
Yeah.
That was what they were, the Furious Five or something like that.
They were the.
What was, you don't remember the name of it?
No, I do not remember the name of it.
Okay. But all those characters were in there too.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to see all that and incorporate all that in the same scene. So I think that's, I could probably say that's why you like that the most out of all of it.
I thought they were setting up Despicable Me 5 and all the villains were going to escape because all the Mega Minions broke the walls to the prison to get in for the dance scene at the end. I was like, oh, well, that's the setup for the next one. And then they're like, nah, it's just a dance scene. Don't worry about it.
So, yeah, the vending machine minion, them launching the soda into there, and them, like, they kept picking stuff throughout the entire film too and having it knock on his head.
Yeah.
And then when he finally gets out at the end, he sets off the lockdown.
Oh goodness. I liked the baby pit crew stuff. I thought that was really funny.
Yes, and the background music for that was Hot for Teacher by Van Halen.
Yeah, that's right.
So
also the fact that when Poppy's doing the Dance Dance Revolution stuff in her treehouse, it's Through the Fire and the Flames by Dragon Force.
Yes.
Why? I'm not mad. I just don't understand what I just saw.
That song is at the end of one of the Guitar Heroes, and it takes
Guitar
forever
Hero
to
3,
get
I think.
through it.
Yeah,
it's a long song.
It's 7 minutes, and I have been listening to that, like not playing the game, just listening to that since I played that game.
Oh, okay.
I love that song. It's fantastic.
Yeah. They get a little bit more long-winded than I would like them to, but they're definitely talented guys.
Yeah, I haven't heard their other stuff. I just know that one.
It's kind of all about the same.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Look, just the hammer-ons that they're doing from a musical, like technical thing, doing it that long and my fingers would fall off.
So I wonder if the honey badger being called Lemmy was from Lemmy from Motorhead.
Oh, it might be.
Because
was there Motorhead music in this?
No, there wasn't.
Okay.
Or if there was, I didn't notice. But so why was it a honey badger that they have to? Just because they're mean, horrible little creatures?
I think so. Yeah.
And so that was, the high school was for villains.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the mascot. So the one thing, the principal that ends up in this like gigantic monster truck looking thing and going after them after they broke in, they stole that from Gwar.
Gwar?
Right. The band Gwar, like one of their albums is America Must Be Destroyed. And like every one of their albums has like this elaborate story and they're just way out there. So for that album, they go after the Morality Squad, which the head of it was Grambo, which had a wheelchair that looked exactly like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
I guess the French are big metal fans. I had no idea.
Hey, Hellfest is a big thing over in Paris every year now.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Well,
but I thought, but I also thought it was funny that they put it in there.
Yeah,
but
I enjoyed that. That's one of the things I do think I appreciate about these movies is the continued creativity and inventiveness of the gadgets and the cars and just doing silly stuff with it. And
right.
And I grew up when I was working as an actor. I started when I was 12, and I actually used to work with Ringling Brothers clowns.
Okay.
So I spent.
Yeah, you've told me that.
I spent a long time learning about slapstick, and is it not exactly the same when it's animated? Sure, but I love slapstick gags, and that is something that this series has always tried to kind of push the envelope with and change up and have these Buster Keaton style. I'll pull this hair. And then next thing I know, the entire towns fall apart because I tried to pick up this quarter or whatever. And I appreciate that. I think there's some silly little this leads to that, leads to that, leads to that.
Right. Or
sort of things.
Charlie Chaplin did that too, and then of course all the Three Stooges stuff that was done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there's still all that influence on like movies today, especially like kid stuff, and it's great to see that.
Yeah, I love that stuff. So
because I know I have an appreciation for that.
I'm one of those simple people who's like, you fall down, go boom.
Yeah. And crude humor in kid films does not get old to me.
Yeah. Lucky sit.
Yeah. Or the one gag in this was, Lucky sit, and that's what happened. And then, Kyle, although Kyle we really don't see till the end when they bring him out. Kyle was the little like ugly looking dog that they have, which I always like. That's my favorite line from the first one. Kyle, these are kids, not treats. I always thought that was great.
Yeah, I love Steve Carell. He commits to his performances, and I appreciate that.
So this is better than him being an If.
Yeah, well, he was the best part of If.
Drew's gonna get mad at us here.
All right, Drew, why should we love If?
Because like the friends were good, and like them finding homes for them.
So that's why you like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
you would say that when we said we didn't like it, we were wrong.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. That was confidence there.
Once again, two knuckleheads and Belton in a podcast.
I think this one has it's got the needle drops and all that stuff that you would expect from an Illumination movie. I was prepared for that going in, so it didn't really bother me.
Yeah.
And also, anytime I hear Through the Fire and the Flames, I'm kind of like, I'll give you that one. Especially in a kids movie, what a weird thing to incorporate. Really, it's
well, but you got to figure how many kids are actually playing like those games now where that stuff is featured in, so they probably already know it.
Yeah, you got a point. Although I don't think I've seen anyone play Guitar Hero in like a decade.
No, that's I think I'm the only one that still plays it.
I still have a PS2 and a red Guitar Hero guitar underneath my entertainment center. But with the new TVs that are not CRTs, there's a lag. There's a lag that goes on, and so you can't play it on a newer TV. So I've been holding on to it because I'm like, someday I'll find a working CRT for cheap enough, and I'll buy it, and I'll play Guitar Hero again.
Okay.
But let's see.
What else is for spoilers on this?
I mean, it's with kids movies, it's tough to have like a whole lot to talk about. I liked that the main kind of thrust of the movie was about family and about him trying to connect with his son, and kind of getting forced into doing this heist with Poppy, and Poppy I thought was great. I liked Poppy.
I liked Poppy a lot.
Poppy was just scared the bejesus out of me, man.
Well, she scared Gru.
Yeah. The animation of her face when she's being that mysterious, and that completely goes away by the end.
And she also, I thought it was cool that she also had that lisp with the braces.
Yeah.
So the voice acting on that was perfect for what the character looked like.
Yeah. Yeah. It fit. It wasn't. And I think it's also, it's one of those things that people talk about this in movies, and I don't get to, my panties don't get in a bunch, as the kids would say. No, that's what old people say. But
yeah,
there is a kind of nice representation of like, she's a strong character and all that stuff. And the braces don't stop her, slow her down. And I never got to get braces, so I still have this gap between my teeth that you could stick a whole hot dog in.
I never had braces either.
But it's nice to see that and be like, hey, this doesn't matter. She's still cool, and she does all these flips and stuff. She's a tour de force.
And then another reference I thought was cool is the vehicle that they use to get away from the high school when the principal is chasing them is reminiscent of from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
It is.
And I thought that was cool too.
I don't know how I didn't catch that.
Because I remember, when I was Drew's age and younger, like the stuff that was around for when I was a kid was mainly Disney.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, like my parents didn't want to take me to, so stuck me with my grandmother that had to, but she didn't mind it. But my parents were like, oh God, if we have to take him to another one of these Apple Dumpling Gang films, like we're going to lose our mind.
I'll defend Don Knotts and the Apple Dumpling Gang till I'm dead.
See, I love those films.
I did too.
And probably because, that was my childhood and I grew up on those.
Well, that and Tim, I can't remember his last name now.
Tim Conway.
Tim Conway's fantastic.
Dorf.
Oh my gosh, he's great.
In the Carol Burnett show? Yeah.
The whole Carol Burnett show clip where he's talking about the elephants.
Yes.
Their crew with their trunks tied together or something.
Mrs. Weekend.
Oh man, Tim Conway. Oh, I miss him. I miss him so much.
That's funny. Amanda, that works with us here at the theater and works as our HR person. Like one of her favorite films is The Private Eyes.
Oh, really?
That Don Knotts and Tim Conway did as a spoof on the Sherlock Holmes detective kind of movies. Yeah,
they're great. I want to go back and rewatch some of those movies. Now.
Yeah,
I wonder how much of that's on like Disney Plus and stuff now, since they own everything.
I don't think you can find I know the Apple Dumpling Gang and those kind of films that you can find on Disney Plus. The other ones are kind of scattered, and I've found most of them are on Prime.
Oh, okay.
Prime is kind of the garbage pail of streaming. It seems like it has a lot of those lesser known or stuff that just nobody will watch.
Yeah. Because it's cheap, so they can throw it up there and go, we have this many titles.
And I wonder too if subconsciously, the bad guy in this is Maxine, with Maxine coming out on Friday. If there's any parallels to that, or
I don't know.
If I'm just reaching for,
I think you might be reaching a little bit. Like you said, it takes a long time to make these movies.
Yeah.
But in my head, do I now believe that? Yes. And it's like Maxine is the character in Maxine, but this is Maxime with an M at the end.
Oh, okay.
Which is so annoying to me. It annoyed me.
It's the pretentious French thing.
It's le French.
Right.
Yeah, it's a French studio, so but yeah, I overall there's not like a whole, because I don't want to ruin a bunch of gags. And most of the movie is gags.
It is.
Even in the spoiler talk, I think the Mega Minions I liked. I liked that someone shouted out at them, "We're sick of superheroes," and they're making a joke on that.
And even when they're packing up to go to the safe house, like they're packing up the shrink ray and everything from the other films, I thought that was cool too.
And my favorite kind of gag because it has a personal connection for me is when the stretchy one stops the train. And then it bounces back because he's all stretchy. And that's a call out specifically to Spider-Man 2.
Yes.
And Spider-Man 2 is the reason I got into film and acting and stuff in the first place. So for me, I was just like, good memories.
See, Drew likes the Spider-Man movies.
They're so good.
Yeah.
I mean, up until someone dances.
The third one.
What do you think about Spider-Man 3, Drew?
I liked it.
See, Andy, you're wrong.
See, Drew likes Venom too, so you can't really account for taste.
Don't let him talk to you that way. You go home and you get the water hose, you bring it right inside, and you just hose him down while he's eating dinner.
Oh, no, he's going to get revenge on me on the vacation that we're going on, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, you guys are heading out of town. So I guess we could mention that. There's no news on this because we're recording ahead of time. If there is news, it'll be me kind of jumping in after the review part, and I'll
the only news that I can think of, and I pointed it out when we were watching the trailers, is Wicked changing its release date, like moving it up instead of competing head to head with Moana. So it's going to go head to head with Gladiator 2, which
very different audiences.
Right. So it's got more of a shot than against Moana. Against Moana, it might actually get lost in the shuffle. So when I read that, I was like, that's actually a really good move on Universal's part.
I mean, Moana is probably one of the few Disney properties that you actually can say is like a reliable thing.
Yeah, that and Frozen, unfortunately.
But they're going to kill that because they're doing the live action Moana at the same time.
Yeah.
That's in development while they're putting out the second one. It's just like, why can't it just be an animated series?
So I'm curious how many people are going to come to number 2 thinking it's a live action one, and then come out and go, this is not live action. I guarantee there's going to be at least one.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to do it just for fun.
Just like when Disney was releasing a lot of their classic films, or not so much classic, but more modern classics that they were doing in 3D, and they released Monsters, Inc., the Christmas before the summer that Monsters University came out.
Yeah.
And I remember a lot of people coming out to see that and going, this isn't the new one. I've seen this before. And it didn't say that it was the new one. You thought it was the new one. And how many refunds I had to give for that.
Oh, my goodness.
Just because people didn't read that it's the original one.
Well, I don't want to talk about our education system, but it is failing people.
I don't know. You get a pretty good education at school.
Yeah.
See, so he can talk. He can make sentences.
Yeah.
Just not on the podcast.
You're making him nervous, man. Come on.
Okay.
Well, Drew, for what it's worth, I'm glad you're here. You don't have to listen to your dad.
Drew, I'm glad. Man. I love you.
I'm just kidding. Your dad loves you a lot. He talks about you all the time. He's constantly just talking about how you're much smarter than he is. Every day.
Yeah. I still can't get him to go see A Quiet Place 2, though.
It's good, though. I think you'd like it.
See, and this is the thing. How many times have I told you, like, it's no worse than Five Nights at Freddy's? And you loved Five Nights at Freddy's.
Into the mic, bud. You got to get real close.
That was the one movie that was good because I thought it was going to be so terrible.
Five Nights at Freddy's?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I convinced you to watch that. And then he won't stop watching it. That's the problem now.
Is Josh Hutcherson in that?
I have no idea.
Yes, he is, Drew.
Drew, have you ever seen Zathura?
No.
Yes, you have.
When?
The one in space, it's like Jumanji, but it's in space where they have to battle the robot.
Oh, that movie.
Yeah, we've watched that on Netflix.
Yeah.
I was
The
about
two
to say,
brothers and the sister.
Oh, yeah.
And like the house is coming apart.
Oh, yeah.
that movie's so good.
It is. And that's Jon Favreau.
Uh-huh. Yep.
But it didn't do well.
No, and you know what's funny? I was maybe a little bit younger than Drew when that came out. No, was it 2007 or 2000?
I think so. Geez, I was still working for Cinemark in Pittsburgh at the time.
I need to see when that came out. 2005. Okay, yeah. So I would have been a year younger than you, Drew. And I remember there was some other movie that was out at the time that I wanted to go see, and my parents said we were going to the movies, and I was like, oh, yay, we're going to see, whatever it was. I don't even remember what it was now. Because they went, no, we're going to see Zathura. And I was like, that sounds dumb. And then we sat down, and about 20 minutes into it, I was like, this is my new favorite movie. This is awesome. Like the moment the asteroids start hitting and the performances from those kids is fantastic.
But the funny part about it is I've never seen the original Jumanji.
Oh, you should see
with
Jumanji.
Robin Williams.
Oh, it's good.
Unfortunately, I've seen those newer ones.
Yeah.
They're awful.
Not the same type of movie at all.
And that almost makes me not want to go back and watch the original one just because I hate them so much.
Watch the original one.
Okay.
It is Jumanji is a movie. Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle and Jumanji The Next Level are products.
Okay, that makes sense because those films are just terrible.
That first one is, and I kind of had some fun with Welcome to the Jungle. I thought the video game stuff was fun enough. I enjoyed playing around with that.
Okay.
But generally, it has none of the heart, none of the Robin Williams' performance in Jumanji is fantastic. It is so good. It is so good. My wife didn't want to watch it either. And then I forced her to.
Okay.
I sat her down in the chair. I pulled out the electric
and then
cord.
both of our wives pulled out of this tonight. Jessica pulled out because we're getting ready for this trip.
Yep.
And then Hannah pulled out, and I guess nobody wanted to see kid films.
She
tonight.
said something about how I'm a stinky baby and she can't be near me because I stink so bad. I don't know what that meant.
I sat next to you and you didn't stink.
Well,
Drew, did you get?
No.
Okay, see?
All right,
both of us are...
I got away with farting in the theater then.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Go outside. Go outside if you need to toot, please.
See, Drew smiled and he thought it was funny. See, I'm telling you, that kind of humor...
If there's one thing I know and love, it's fart humor, Andy.
Yes.
I try to keep it at bay here on the show because I'm trying to be a respectable reviewer. But now he's here, so...
I'm surprised they didn't have the fart gun in this.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was one of the original... Because even...
No fart gun.
Like... Dr. Nefario showed up at the end, too. That was cool.
For one line.
Yeah. And I wasn't even... Did Russell Brand still do the voice of it?
According to the Wikipedia page, yes, he did. But they seem to be trying to separate themselves from him.
Well, everybody is separated, especially if you've seen the remake of Arthur.
I saw the trailer for that and just thought, that looks like the most obnoxious person in the world.
I remember Mike ended up buying it.
Which one, Arthur?
Arthur the King.
Oh no, this one's different, Drew. Oh. Arthur the King was with the dog that we really liked.
Yeah, Arthur the King was.
Arthur is with Russell Brand about an older man who's generally an alcoholic, and you wouldn't like it. Although the original one with Dudley Moore I like.
I haven't seen it.
See, that one's actually good, but the newer one that they did with Helen Mirren, it's just awful.
Yeah, no.
Once again, you don't mess with like some of those classic films, to be honest.
I think I kind of feel the same way about Naked Gun. I'm hesitant,
it's gonna be curious if we're still doing this by next summer when that comes out. Like what we're gonna think of that.
Andy, there's a government order. We have to do this. We're not allowed to stop. I'm afraid I have to break it to you. We're in this for the long haul.
Okay, and I have no problem with that. I enjoy doing this every week or every other. This week we've been doing it every other day.
Yeah, this has been. We're trying to store up a couple episodes while you're on vacation, so you have just made our work schedule absolute nightmare. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's been fun. I like this. I let's loop back around to. Actually, I have one more tangent to go on.
Oh, okay.
Since we talked about several movies with Arthur in the title, did you ever see is it Guy Ritchie that did King Arthur?
King Arthur? Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think of that?
I didn't like that at all.
I didn't either.
And I like Charlie Hunnam too. Or I guess I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right.
I don't know.
Because the other film that Guy Ritchie used him in, The Gentleman, I love.
I've heard that's great. I haven't seen it.
In fact, I saw it here before I started working here. And most of Guy Ritchie's like crime films, I absolutely love those movies. They're all great. They're all interconnected. The storylines are fantastic.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Before you worked here?
Yes.
You existed before that? You
Yes.
weren't birthed by the theater?
I think I was here more as a guest. So and it's funny because, all I had to do was drive to Austin and go to see free movies for the company I was working for at the time. I came here more than I did that because it's 5 minutes down the road for me. I would rather pay than drive all the way to Austin and deal with people down there and so I just came here.
The people here are so much nicer.
They are.
They really are.
The people in this town are just awesome, and I love them.
Yeah. And you're not saying that because of any financial incentive.
No, I really do.
No, I know you.
I've considered this my home ever since I met my wife when I was dating her. And I've settled down here, and I have really learned to love this area.
I've grown up here basically my whole life, except for a 3-year stint where we lived in New Mexico. But we lived in Roswell, and my dad would move us when we had a kid for some reason. And so when my sister was delivered by the spaceship, we moved back down here. We buy my sister alien stuff all the time because she was born in Roswell, so it's like. Well, you're not from here.
I know this is probably a futile question, but have you ever seen Paul?
I have seen Paul.
Okay, so
that was so there were a couple of movies I pirated as a teenager, and Paul was one of them. And I remember going, "This wasn't worth the 5-hour download."
Actually, I like that movie.
I laughed at it, but I think I was learning about stoner comedies. I didn't know anything about that whole subgenre of things, so I didn't get some of it.
But there's a lot of inside movie jokes in that film that make it worth watching.
I don't remember it that well, so I may be able to find it. Maybe if it's on the dump land that is Amazon Prime.
It probably is.
Okay, I just wanted to. Yeah, the King Arthur has been bugging me since I saw it. I was just like, how did this happen? I wanted to get that off my chest.
To go even further with Guy Ritchie, how did Aladdin happen? Because
he made the original,
the cartoon one?
Yes.
No, he didn't.
I remember I said it when I reviewed that movie.
No.
I was like, what? Why would you get this guy to do this movie? And then I looked it up and I was like, are you kidding me? What was it? 1992?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, 1992. Aladdin. Walt Disney Pictures.
He's not the director.
It's loading. What did I find then? This is John Musker and Ron Clements.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
But then he ended up doing the live action version of it, and I really hate that film.
I do too. It's bad. It's real bad.
Yeah, I would just rather stick with Drew. You like the live action one, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, because he's like glaring at me like something fierce when I say that. It's really funny.
Why did I think he directed the original?
No, Guy Ritchie hasn't been around that long.
I feel so stupid right now.
Well. The running gag. Okay, so Drew, you got to ask him. Remember the movie we saw about the guinea pigs that do like the secret agent stuff? Remember what that was called?
I can't put I just remember knowing it was the best movie that had ever been made.
Okay, so Garrett absolutely loves that film. G-Force.
I think that the Minions should be replaced with guinea pigs, honestly.
That'll be number 5.
I'm so sad because I realized when we finished recording the last one, I never mentioned it. I missed an episode.
There was no way to incorporate that in Horizons.
Oh, like, no, there was. I just missed it.
Oh, okay.
Because what I was going to say was like, it's funny when she poked the shotgun through the dirt, I was like, oh, like a prairie dog. That's kind of like a guinea pig. And I cursed myself on the way home for forgetting.
Well, at least we didn't, it's not like tonight where we just watched the film and we came straight in and started recording this. It's a good thing we didn't do that after Horizons.
I don't think either of us have enough emotional energy to do that.
That film was really draining to watch. Although, like I said, I'm looking forward to part 2.
Me too. I don't know how to justify that, but I want to see it.
Yeah.
I don't know where I looked up that Guy Ritchie directed that. Sorry.
No. But yeah, that King Arthur
I was confident about being wrong though, and I think confidence is key.
There you go.
Wouldn't you agree, Drew?
Yes.
Confidence is key.
Okay, but I do like the King Arthur film that was more fact-based with Clive Owen and Keira Knightley.
I haven't seen it.
That's not a shock.
No, not really.
It was less legend and more kind of reality, almost like the Hercules film that Dwayne Johnson did.
Was that good?
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Huh. It didn't do well.
No, I don't remember anyone. I think I was working here when it came out. If that came out in 2010.
Yeah. Because I was working at Marble Falls 2014. At the time. Wow. And I remember they pumped that film up like unbelievably too, and it just really didn't find an audience.
No one cared about this movie.
No, more people went to see Jungle Cruise, I think, than that.
And Jungle Cruise was a problem for Disney.
How so?
It just lost a bunch of money. It was like one of the most expensive movies they've ever made.
See, that's surprising because like the theater I was working at on the weekends, that film would sell out.
But they had overspent so much that there was no way it was going to make back. They were hoping it would be like a Pirates of the Caribbean situation where they'd take a ride and adapt it into a movie and it would do gangbusters. But Pirates of the Caribbean was such a weird lightning in a bottle moment.
Yeah.
And they've not been able to recapture that since the third one.
No.
At all. And so thinking that they could just replicate that.
There's still talk about another one and bringing Johnny Depp back and revitalizing that franchise again.
But not Johnny Depp as well. There's conflicting reports on that, and I've seen both of those this week. Where it's like there's talks about it, and then there's absolutely not because of Johnny Depp's whole controversy with Amber Heard, which was not really a controversy. She pooped on his pillow, but Jungle Cruise it had a budget of $200 million for Jungle Cruise. And the box office was 220.9. So if you account for the marketing, which normally is double the film's budget, they lost almost $200 million.
Wow.
And the movie's not bad.
No, it's a poor man's Indiana Jones film.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. So
I love adventure movies. We talked about this on what ones was it we were talking about? We were talking about how like old serial radio shows or something. And my mom made my little brother text me and ask what that was. He texted. He goes, "What's a serial?" And it was like CEREAL. And I was like, the kids are not all right.
Yeah, no.
I like those types of movies.
Me too.
I like adventure stuff.
Although I know what Sydney Sweeney is behind redoing Barbarella. I'm not looking forward to that. That's going to be a train wreck.
I know a little bit about Barbarella. I know I've seen clips from it.
That was my parents took me to see that at a drive-in when I was little, and it didn't remember a whole lot of it. I saw it when I was a teenager. And I was like, oh my god, I saw this when I was 5. I'm like, they ought to be ashamed of themselves.
Well, it explains a lot about you, though.
Yeah, like I went to the drive-in and saw a whole bunch of stuff when I was a kid that I probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, but they also, I mean, you were a kid right around the time they started thinking maybe seatbelts were a good idea for everyone, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, things were different. You know, you played outside, you drank from the water hose, you'd gotten in vans with candy guys. You did all that stuff, and you were fine.
So that's, I think, one of the things that's lost over the years, especially like drive-ins have all but gone away. And COVID kind of revitalized that a little bit, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
And then now they've really definitely dropped off again. And I know the one in Gatesville, it's okay. Just every time I go up there for something, I get eaten alive by ants.
Yeah, there's a really cool one down in
New Braunfels.
Yeah,
with the 1950,
Starlight, I think it is.
Yeah,
something like that.
And it's 3 screens in a 1950 style diner like snack bar. That's
really
absolutely
cool
amazing. Yeah,
it's
cool.
really
cool.
But come to Grand Avenue anyway.
Yes, thank you.
Remember when this podcast was about Despicable Me 4?
And we do have the drive-in coming up here at Grand Avenue for Jaws.
Oh, that's right. Is that tomorrow, 4th of July?
No, Saturday.
Oh, Saturday. Well, this won't be out until
Friday.
This won't be out until after that, I think.
Okay.
But,
hopefully you came.
We'll share some stuff. I mean, on Grand Avenue's, social media pages, you can find all that stuff. So, if you didn't come, that's fine. We'll just disown you.
Yeah, I'll play it again sometime soon.
Let's see. Is there anything else we want to talk about with Despicable Me 4?
Drew, is there anything you want to talk about with Despicable Me 4?
No.
Okay, so I think that's our cue.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's good. It's fun.
Yeah, definitely. Good family film.
And I think that there's in a world full of family movies that purport to be family movies and have a whole bunch of junk in them, it's nice to watch one where it's just like, yeah, your kids might slap each other because they think it's funny, but it is. So
yeah, just don't hit ISIS, Drew, okay? Okay.
All right. Well, let's see. If there's nothing else we want to talk about here, I think maybe we can call it for the week. If I get around to it before this goes out, I may catch up on some news and insert that. If not, we'll just say goodbye here. And now you'll know if that's happening right now. Okay, now we can end the show.
Okay.
All right. Well, Drew, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for staying up, Drew, and helping with us.
Yeah, I'm also going to go take a nap when I get home.
I did that earlier today. That's how I was able to stay awake through this.
I got stung by a bee a couple or like a week and a half ago, and boy, it has tanked my immune system. We missed a month of this show because I got bit up by ants, and now it's happening again. And I'm just like, no, I will suffer through.
Like, movie-wise, I think the only thing that we really missed was Civil War.
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. It would have been an interesting conversation.
Yeah, because I just didn't think it was all that great. Let's see. I offended Drew again. He's got that look.
So you thought Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes was good?
Yes.
Should I watch it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, hey, if it's good enough for Drew, it's good enough for me.
And once again, no apes were harmed in the making of that
movie. Alrighty. Well, thanks for joining us here on the Grand Review.
Yeah, thank you.
We appreciate your listenership. If you like the show, share it around with some of your friends. It's the highest compliment you can pay us. And then you can find us online at Grand Review Pod on Instagram and Facebook. Let us know what you thought. We'd love to hear your thoughts about the movie, especially for kids' movies and stuff. I mean, these are a little bit harder to review in the digging deep sort of sense that we like to do on something.
There are some bad kid films. Let's be honest about that. But
it was fun to talk about.
Spoilers, because like you said earlier, we don't want to give all the way of gags and everything. Yeah, so come and see it.
Yeah. But yeah, we'd love to hear what your thoughts are on those. So again, at Grand Review Pod, and then if you come to Grand Avenue Theater on the day we record is different, but you might see us sitting in the party room recording this very show. So wave at us if you see us.
We'll try to acknowledge you if we're not engrossed in the conversation that we have.
Yeah, or in a gross conversation.
Oh.
I mean, I did talk about farts earlier, so.
Yeah, but that put a smile on Drew's face too. So
that's all I set out to do today.
Once again.
All right. Well, I guess that means it's time for us to end. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening. And take care, y'all.
We'll see you at the movies.
Bye-bye.